All right, hello out there. I'm here today with Ken Burke, and I'm excited to be talking to you, Ken. I had the honor of being on your podcast for microcasting, and you blew my mind with what you did with our interview, and you created a whole course for me. It was amazing, and it was actually really simple, and that's what I want people to take away when we talk today is that they can do this. But before we get into all of that, maybe tell my audience a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for having me, number one. And I thoroughly enjoy doing the course with you as well.
Thanks.
Everybody else, all your listeners know already all about you and how wonderful you are, but you really came across so great on camera.
Oh, thank
It was
you.
really, really well done, I thought. And so you made it easy, but I'm excited to tell your listeners a bit about how we did it and how we did it so fast. And they can do exactly the same thing. Just listen for a couple of minutes here and we're going to be good to go.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So maybe tell
yeah.
our audience a little bit about the platforms and what they are, and then we'll get into like why they need to be doing
Yeah,
this.
yeah. A little bit about me, 2 seconds about me, because I don't want to bore everybody. But I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started a tech company about 25 years ago, sold it for about 5 or 6 years ago, and then as a serial entrepreneur, you just keep starting stuff. You can't stop it. I was in the e-commerce business before. We had a huge e-commerce platform, lots of big retailers, and then we moved over to e-learning about 5 6 years ago. And my team kind of came over with me, and we've built a wonderful e-learning platform called Microcasting, and it's really, something that's a little bit different. It's really about customer engagement and learner engagement. It does all the things you need it to do in terms of educating folks, but really about that engagement and keeping people. We also have a lot of our customers use it as a sales and marketing platform to actually enhance their overall business, and they use e-learning as a thought leadership tool, as a tool to engage customers, prospects, and partners, and that's really what we focus and specialize in. So I want people to be thinking out there, forget our platform, but thinking out there, how do I use e-learning and knowledge and education as a really powerful tool for sales, for marketing, for lead generation, for lead nurturing, for thought leadership, and for customer success? That's what you should be using e-learning for. And this is kind of we're just at the beginning of this wave. So your listeners are, even though e-learning's been out for a while, it hasn't been used in this way nearly as much. And I think it's going to be a very powerful trend going forward.
No, that's great. And I think, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, or just professionals, they say, oh, it would be great if I could create a course, or people say, oh, you should create a course. But it just sounds so complicated and
It's
difficult.
not.
And it's not. And as I was mentioning, when we first met, we did an interview and I was just blown away about how easy it was. Granted, you were doing the work on the back end, but you created the course. It's on the platform. It's easy to go through. I can add things to it. And I'm definitely excited to create like my next course now that you've
I
shown
love
me
it.
how
Well,
to
good.
do
We've
it.
inspired you to create new, and you've got a lot of content. So, I mean, you got a lot of content in your brain, like a lot of your
Yeah.
listeners. It's like content is not the problem. I do talk to people all the time where they're like, I don't know how I'm going to get time to do it. And I have it all, but it's not in the right format or what have you. First of all, you'd be amazed that just in general, e-learning content, whether we use the method that we use, which we're going to talk about in a second, called the interview method, or just generally e-learning content where you're talking into a camera, it's a lot about your animation. And if people are watching us on the video interaction, I don't know if they can see us in some cases as well,
Yeah.
but they can see that we're animated and that we're talking quickly. And talking quickly is not necessarily, but you have to be engaging and being able to really transfer that knowledge on camera and be engaging on camera so people want to continue. That's really key to the overall process. But creating content, though, it doesn't need to be Hollywood produced content. I actually made a mistake. You asked me a question in the pre-interview and said, "What's one of your mistakes?" I made a lot of mistakes. So I was saying, I have a whole list of them. By the way, can we go through all of them? No, I know this is a very, very quick podcast that I love. I love that we keep it nice and short. But I'm going to share one e-learning mistake that I made when I first got
All
into
right.
e-learning. I spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on building a big program. I had a Hollywood producer, I had sets, I had everything. I had a writer, I had it all. And I got to tell you, I did spend probably a couple $100,000 on my base program, which was like 30 hours. So it was a huge program as well. Today, I would do it all differently. Everything's done in
Really.
30-minute courses, little bite-sized pieces, produced in my own studio, which is in anybody's house or business. You can do that with under $500 worth of equipment, and you're good to go. It really is and so it doesn't need to be that quality. There are programs today like StreamYard and other things that I use, or Zoom even, that create great e-learning. And it's a lot about the content and about who you are that makes great e-learning. It doesn't need to be a Hollywood production. Since COVID happened, kind of the world changed where, even the TV that we receive, the news and other things, people are in their living room. That was never done before COVID, right? You very
Yeah.
rarely see somebody in the living room with the dogs barking. But today you can be on CNN sitting in your hotel room. I saw it this morning. And so e-learning, we can do a little bit more formal, but it doesn't need to be that formal, but it needs to be structured, needs to be engaging, it needs to be very relevant, and it needs to be targeted and focused. So if you can do that, that's great.
Yeah.
Now,
No, I think that's such a good point. And one other point you said is chunking it into smaller bite-sized pieces. I think
yes,
that's so key, which also as a creator makes it seem more doable.
right.
Trying to film 30 minutes versus film 5 minutes versus 30 minutes is way more
It
doable.
it's not as daunting. You're right, because you have edit points. So if you make a mistake, or I usually film things in 2 to 5 minute segments, and those are lessons. My lessons are 2 to 5 minutes. There's anywhere between 5, 7, or 8 lessons to a course. Courses should never go over 30 or 40 minutes maximum. 40 minutes maximum. 30 minutes is ideal. Do not do courses that are 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Those days are gone. Micro learning is here. People want to have everything broken down for them. So 2 to 5 minutes for the lesson, and the learner can actually see as they're going through, they're making progress. We want to be given like little treats after every exercise, after everything we do. We get a check mark, we
Yes.
get a bonus, we get a badge. People love that. So breaking things up into small bite-sized pieces makes it easier for the creator, because I can literally sit in front of my camera and take and do a take for 2 or 3 minutes. I don't need much to do that. I can get through that, and if I mess up, I just do it again for another 2 or 3 minutes. So I can literally film a half-hour course in under an hour with myself, just me doing it. Now,
Right.
when we throw the interview method on, where I get somebody like you that's super
Yeah.
engaging, and I call it the interview method. I don't know that I created it, but let's call it, like, let me give myself credit, right? I didn't really,
We'll give you
but I kind
credit.
of wrote out the instructions for it. I wrote out, because I started doing it because I found it was really efficient. And then I found it was more engaging than just me sitting talking. It was actually where I could bring somebody else in. Here's the method, by the way. It's a quick step process, 4 or 5 step process, real quick. First thing you do is you want to find that thought leader, that person that you want to interview for about 30 minutes on a particular topic. You're also, though, the thought leader. You're a participant in this whole process where we're going back and forth, just like we're doing now.
Yeah.
Then what you want to do is do a pre-call with them, right? So which we did. We sat on the phone for about 30 minutes. You gave me a lot of really good. We brainstormed. We got 5 or 7 questions or topic areas that we wanted to talk about to really shine on video. That was that one of your areas of expertise. We got that outline done. I typed it up. I sent it to you. That took me 10 minutes. Wasn't that difficult to do? We created a title together, and then it was filming day, and we just used that as the basis. But the key to the interview method is breaking things up into small bite-sized pieces or self-contained pieces. So after you do your introduction and maybe just a little bit of an overview, then you go into the 5 to 7 things. And what's important there is you have a little bit of structure, like 7 tips, a framework, like 5 proven methods. It doesn't always have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're distinct things that you can do to get somebody through whatever they're trying to get through. It also allows you to keep the interviewee on task. And if for some reason the interviewee on point 3 or point 4, they go off a little bit, you can just stop it, say, we're going to restart, we're just going to do that over. It only takes 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes to redo, even if you have to. And rarely do I ever have to go back and redo. And then you just conclude. Then I love at the end, we do a little promo piece. You and I did one where we use it on social media. It's like, hey, I'm here with Reb. We just filmed a great course on being a pro on video. You want to check it out? Go to our website at da-da-da. And Reb went on and gave the outline of what she talked about to the social media audience. That took a minute. We put that's our promo piece. After that, all I did was cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Very easy to do with a simple, free video editor. And then I distribute it. That was literally it.
Yeah, no, but I'm telling you though, it just turned out so professional and it's nice. And like you were saying, having that process in the beginning where we brainstormed a little bit, you really pulled out the key talking points and then sending that back to me because then I felt much more prepared too when we got to the interview. So I knew what was going to be talked about. I knew at least what I was going to say for the most part. I try not to write everything out. That's my style. But
Me
yeah,
too.
and also I think the interview style lends itself to being a little more authentic. It
I,
feels not like I'm trying to teach you something like this, but I'm actually having a conversation and we can feed off each other. I mean, you and I are like hand people. We like to do gestures.
I know. Yeah, you watch the video, and everybody should watch the video. But go to our website and watch the video. But
I know,
our
I know.
hands are running around and all over the place. But you nailed it. And what you find from this is when you have that interaction, just like we do on a podcast, but with the structure in place, the structure plus the interaction creates a lot of engagement. But the other thing the structure does is allow somebody to walk away with a frame. They can remember what we actually taught them. Where on a
Yep.
podcast, a lot of times you'll get one or two good ideas, and then you won't remember other things that because you're listening. You're more active when you're actually in something that's structured. And then I always recommend throwing a little bit of like maybe a PDF that you want to give away, or a quiz, which we did. We did a little
Mhm.
3-question quiz at the end. That also helps engagement as well. People love taking little
Yeah.
quizzes. They know they're not
Yeah.
graded, but they like it, and it also reinforces information inside. And I do think that you nailed it. You said it's a little bit more authentic, and that's the other thing I really like about it, right? So,
Yep.
yeah,
No, it was great. It was just really well put together. And you brought up a good point. Podcasts are great, but you're right. You're usually doing something. You're running on the treadmill, you're walking,
right,
whatever it is. And the nice thing about having on the course platform is that I can go back. I have sections. I can pull out the to do that I want to work on or whatever it is. I can go back. So
exactly.
there's a lot of benefits to it, and I'm excited. We're going to be using the course that you created for us as a lead magnet.
I
Yes.
love it.
So let's
That's
talk about
perfect.
like why businesses should be looking into creating courses, these micro courses, especially. How can they use them to build business?
Well, absolutely. I think there's a whole lot of things, and you nailed the first one, which is even these little courses that literally took us from start to finish 4 hours, including 2 hours of editing. Literally, it was a 4 hour endeavor to get a lead magnet of a 30-minute course
Yeah.
that's super valuable as well, that you're going to be able to use and promote on social media, grab leads from, and all of that. So that's one of the uses, I think. So one of the things I recommend, I have 4 or 5 basic use cases. And so the first use case is just build a learning center. It doesn't even have to have a lead form on it or anything. I actually have a learning center at learningcenter.microcasting.com, and people can go to it. It's just a site. It's open to the world. It's kind of an extension of my marketing site. That's number one. They say, Ken, and I know you, I know the way you think. You're like, but Ken, we want to generate leads. Where is that one? The second one is you could actually do because usually a learning center has more than one course. So how about doing a free membership site? Here's what's nice about that.
Hmm.
In order to do a free membership site, all you have to do is you're just essentially putting your lead gen form in front of it before you allow them access to everything. But the lead gen form also creates an account on the website. That's what our software does in part.
Ah,
Here's the great
okay.
thing about an account. Once I have an account, then I'm more invested in the business because now I actually have a username and password. I feel like the content is more valuable. Number one, it's still free, but it's behind a paywall or it's behind a wall that not everybody gets, but I got access to it, right? Then once they have an account, I can track their usage. I can report back to whoever the owner of the site is, the thought leader, the course creator, the small business, or whomever, and let them know who's engaging with the site and who's not engaging with the site. I can then marry that to an email campaign, if you will, where triggers can happen as they engage or if they don't engage. You can start to work at it. So it's much better than just a lead gen form is great. And that's a basic way of starting. But then you have to go figure out other things to do with that lead. If you make it
Yep.
a free membership site, then all of a sudden I can start to work the platform, if you will, can start to work with them automatically to encourage them to see more stuff. And then every time you upload something, maybe an email goes out automatically or goes
Right.
out in their interest area. So this free membership site really takes on a lot of legs to it as well.
Oh, I love that
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, it really is. It really is very powerful, and I love it. I do it, and by having that account, I can do a lot of things. I can allow them to take notes. I can track their progress and report back to them on their progress on every course. And they can also things like save things to my favorites list, have learning boards. There's a lot more functionality that you can have when you have an account versus literally filling out your name and email address. You really don't have anything. And by the way, the next time that you have to go get something, like somebody wants to download something from you, they have to do it again because your system's typically, not yours, but generally,
Right.
every time you put out a piece of content, you have a lead gen form and the system doesn't know whether or not you already entered it or not. So here's a
Yeah.
great way where they have an environment they always go to. Now, next one real quick is a membership site. I love membership sites. I would advise your audience, for the most part, generally speaking, don't do a commerce site if you don't have to. Membership sites are so much better. People see more value in them, like Netflix versus, it's the example. I can spend $19.99 renting a video on Amazon Prime that I don't own. Let's say or I go on Amazon and just rent a video for $15 or $10 or $5, whatever. Or I can get access to millions of movies for $19 a month or $15 a month or whatever. I'm much more likely to do that. So even if you say, Ken, I don't have enough content for a membership site, believe it or not, you don't have to have enough enough is 5-10 courses, maybe a program, maybe some extraneous videos, a couple of interviews that we talked about. That's enough for a membership site. And then you just keep adding to that membership site. I think a customer or a membership site is much more powerful. Now, if you're also a consultant, you can pair that membership site with already what you're selling out there. What you're selling, your coaching services or your consulting services or what have you. And you actually give that as a leave behind. It could be given or it could be charged. And then you give them like a year or 6 months or 3 months free. And then after that, you can say, after that, we're going to charge you X amount of money. So it can be an ongoing revenue stream for you. And they know because they're already engaged with you, right? As a consultant or coach, they're already engaged with you to want more information from you. This could be a great way to extend the engagement or relationship in a digital way. And it's highly leveraging you as well because you don't have to do as much work.
Yeah. No, Ken, I mean, you are a true entrepreneur and business minded thinker because like these are all things that, honestly, I feel I haven't thought about. I've never like who am I to have a membership site? But when you explain it, it makes so much sense, because you're right. You think about membership sites as being, an organization or Netflix. It just
right.
Yeah, I love this idea.
The value of a membership site to an individual thought leader like yourself, to an individual coach, consultant, a small business owner like yourself, and to all the people that are listening out there, because we're all in the same boat. We're all kind of the same people, right?
Yeah.
Is not only is it great for your thought leadership and your branding, and you can do a lot of things with, like I said, a leave behind, you can charge for it, you can extend the engagement and all that. But in addition to that, you can also integrate yourself with the membership site. So not just sell on-demand material where they just get it when they can get it, but once a month do a group session, once a month do a mastermind to anybody that's a member of this membership site, if you're selling it to the general public or maybe small businesses, as an example. That value of your interaction, just once a month, coming onto your audience and saying, here I am, let's talk, adds tremendous value to the on-demand content. When you marry a little bit of live, I'll even call it the 80-20 rule or even the 90-10 rule, a little bit of live to a lot of on-demand content, the on-demand content becomes even more valuable and you can charge more for it.
Get it? Okay. I love it. I love it. Oh my
I
gosh.
hope that makes sense.
And I have some other people that need to talk to you.
Yeah,
But
I love that.
with that said, as we're wrapping up here, any last thoughts of how do you get started? What's the best way to get started with micro courses?
Yeah, no, I mean, the first thing that you do, first of all, we on your website, we've got the interview course. Start there. And on my site, microcasting.com, we have Create the Perfect Course. It's in our learning center. That's a free course to you. That will literally walk you step by step through exactly how to create the perfect course. The lessons, the length, the equipment to use, the subtitling, the transcripts, the everything that you need, pre-production, production, post-production, distribution, all of it. 30 minutes, a 35-minute course, a little bit longer than it should be, 35 minutes. You can grab that on my website. It's free of charge, right? Awesome. Those two things are a great way to start. And then just starting producing some content. Literally just get on Zoom and structure a small course for yourself, 5 to 7 topics, and just start talking about it. Record it on Zoom or record it on your favorite program and go from there. Then when you have if you don't have content already, that will get you started. And then from there, seek out a platform like, of course, Microcasting or whatever, honestly, whatever that might work. And then you can start to see how it all can come together. But it's not that hard to get started. You just got to get the wheels going. And then all of a sudden it builds up, and you look back a year from now and you say, I've got like 50 courses. I've got 25. It's exactly what happened to me. I have over 200 courses in my library right now. And I didn't mean to produce 200. I didn't set out to produce 200 courses, but I have them in my library now. So
Wow.
that's what happens. It took a couple, 3-4 years to build all of that.
Sure.
And I have my own membership site called Entrepreneur Now, that people can go look at as a sample of a really great membership site.
All right, Ken, I really appreciate that. And you also have an offer for my audience. What is it?
Well, I really want people to get started, and I'd love to be able to help them, because one of the things we do is we coach people through the entire process. That doesn't cost anything. That's free, but you need to be on our platform. So in order to get started and get going, we have a 50% off coupon for 3 months. So the first 3 months, 50% off, and it allows you to start playing with this. So you don't feel like, oh my goodness, I'm paying a lot of money for this or what have you. By the way, our software is not that expensive anyway. But the code is called Summer Special, but it can be used anytime. So if your listeners, I know they listen to you all the time, but if they're listening in the fall, Summer Special still will work. Just Summer Special is your code. You go to you go to elearning-portals.com, or just mention Summer Special to me when you talk to me. Just email me, let me know. We'll make sure you get that 50% discount for the first 3 months.
All right. Thank you, Ken. And we'll put your contact and that discount code and everything in our show notes so that people
Great.
can find it easily.
Perfect.
But yeah, so wrapping up, if you want to revolutionize your marketing, your business, your life, meet great people like Ken, create great content, your own e-learning library, reach out to us. We love doing the video and podcasting, but our core competency is really helping our clients figure out their branding, their messaging, and then making it come to life through video and podcasting. All right. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.